Hello everybody, I'm Garrulous64, and I know what you're thinking. No, you did not leave the oven on, ignore that burning smell, just keep watching the video. And I'm also prepared for the people in the comments that are gonna be like, but I thought you already made a video about Super Mario 64, your favorite game of all time. Well, I did, but there's a difference between that and this. That being my favorite, and this being my most prized possession. Alright, maybe my second most prized possession after him, of course. Hey there! If you like my videos, you could always hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon for more. And if you, really like it, you could even like and comment, but, let's not get crazy. That sounds like a lot of work. If you're a keen listener and you've been around for a while, you might have heard me bring up a certain franchise over and over again, but I've never really stopped to talk about it for more than a minute or so. You might be saying, Dylan, if you love it so much, why haven't you made a video about it? Well, for one thing, dear viewer, the algorithm demands Sonic the Hedgehog content, but you know what? To hell with the algorithm. I'm not letting numbers push me around anymore. This is the Garrulous64 show, not the YouTube show. I mean, it is a show on YouTube, I guess. So technically it's a YouTube show, but you know what? And I guess, well, the other reason is that it's really easy to write about something you hate because it leaves a lot of room for you to be, really overly angry and, funny about it. But when you're writing about something that you love, that kind of makes me a little nervous. If you care about something so much, the last thing you want to do is misrepresent it or make it sound lame, because then what am I standing here for 15 minutes talking to you about it for? As the CEO of coolness, how could I ever make anything sound lame? I'm sure I'll be fine. Mega Man Star Force, the most amazing and wonderful and perfect trilogy of games to ever walk the earth. Some might say that's hyperbole, but you forget that you're in my world right now, and I make the rules. I'm sure you've heard of Mega Man before. He's kind of like an obscure little guy at this point, right? But, it's kind of funny. I think Capcom hates him about as much as Sonic fans hate Sonic games. And that's a lot of hatred, I should know. People just really like this guy's games because you could jump and even shoot at the same time occasionally. So 14 years later, they made a spin-off series where you can't jump anymore, but you participate in real-time battles, and Mega Man is now a Tamagotchi. The Mega Man Battle Network games were a very well-liked bunch, and after they made 6 games, 3 spin-offs of this spin-off, and 1 remake, the devs decided to wipe the slate clean, and this is the story of how Mega Man Star Force was born. Mega Man Star Force is basically a sequel to Mega Man Battle Network, seeing as they both take place in the same timeline, whereas all of the others, including Classic X, Zero, ZX, and Legends, take place in the main continuity. I don't know about you guys, but this is the timeline I want to be a part of. Forget about pseudoroids and Mavericks, all we got is aliens showing up and bathing the Earth in incredibly harmful levels of radiation. It's just like baby stuff. But enough stalling. If you guys are worried about spoilers for a 15-year-old game, this is your warning right here to go play the game for yourself, find a way to do it, buy the copy, whatever. But also, Melon DS is a really good DS emulator that also has online functionality, so, that's a pretty good option. Star Force DX. Very good. It combines all 3 versions of the game into one, and it adds so much quality of life stuff, it's unbelievable. Mega Man Star Force stars this boy named Geo Stellar, or technically whatever you want to call him, because in the first game you can give him whatever name you want, which was a feature that was removed in the sequels because Geo's not really supposed to be a self-insert. He's kind of his own guy with his own problems. For example, he hasn't gone to school in a really long time since he lost his father in a freak space station accident. Ever since then, he's been really closed off to the entire world, and even his interactions with his mother are a lot more brief than you think they would. Instead of doing normal kid things, Geo elects to just spend time at his favorite area outside of town, Vista Point, staring up at the stars, wondering if he'll ever see his dad again. Look, I know this is a primarily comedic channel, and this is pretty heavy, so I should probably lighten things up with a joke, but I think that would kind of defile the really emotional tone they're trying to set the scene with, and I would never even Oh, perfect! There's our other protagonist! This is Omegasis, an alien from the planet FM who's on the run from his own kind. And what's that? He actually knows Geo's father somehow? Talk about being in the right place at the right time. Whoever said brooding on your own wasn't the key to victory. You apologize to all of them right now. Mega here agrees to tell Geo about his father if he helps him fend off any oncoming threats that come their way. And obviously, for Mega, this is a pretty good plan, but for Geo, who is a 5th grader with 0 battle experience whatsoever, honestly, you can see why you might be a little bit nervous about it. Following this interaction, the 2EM wave change, a process in which an EM body and a human being can combine together and become an all-new powerful EM being. In this case, of course, resulting in the Earth's newest savior, Mega Man! And seriously, he has never looked cooler. This is the best Mega Man design. I will fight you, you will fight me, I'll win. You'll love to see it. No matter what timeline or time period, there's always someone in blue running around saving the day, and you know what? I am all for it. Alright, so, this might seem like a bit of an inconvenience for Geo, because he likes to be on his own, and now he's got an alien living in his Apple Watch. But I argue this is actually an introvert's dream, right? Because, say you want to avoid some people, you just turn into Mega Man, and bam, they can't see anymore, because people can't see EM beings without special assistance, which not many people actually own. Let's say, hypothetically, there are some people that are trying to get Geo to go back to school. He could always just turn into the Blue Bomber, and then what are they going to do about it? Nothing. And also, that wasn't hypothetical, because there actually is a small group of people trying to do just that. Luna Platts, Bud Bison, and Zach Temple are this game's friend group. They don't exactly start off that way, because Geo's current ideals are that you shouldn't really form relationships, because eventually that person might turn on you and leave you completely devastated. Their main goal in this game is to get Geo to come back to school with them, because then Luna's position as class president will be even more well-deserved, and, they might be a little bit too persistent and actually a little bit annoying, but they at least have a point. He should probably get back out there, and this is actually the catalyst for Geo's character arc. With all the main players established, Geo's life is effectively being flipped upside down, but you know what? That might end up being a good thing, because you know what happens to frowns when they get flipped upside down. Turn into smiles. Now, before I go any more into the story, I want to talk about gameplay, because that's kind of the most important part of a game. Otherwise, you would call it a book. I would read the Mega Man Star Force book, honestly. If you've ever played Mega Man Battle Network before, you'll vibe with Mega Man Star Force almost immediately, because it is pretty much the same thing, except with some huge improvements, in my opinion. Still participating in real-time RPG battles against some really funky fellows who are just begging for a sword to the face. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before you can provide that aforementioned sword for them, you gotta set your chip folder up. As you traverse through the game, you'll find different battle chips either in combat or out in the overworld that Geo can add to his chip folder. The amount of customization in this game is absolutely insane, because no matter what you want to do, no matter what your preferred fighting style is, you can set up your folder, or folders, you can have multiple and just change them whenever you want to spice things up a little bit. You can just do whatever strategies you see fit, or however you want to end enemy encounters as fast as possible, or if you want to just use cannons for the whole game, but I don't know why you would do that unless you're making a challenge video, and I honestly don't want to be a part of that. Going back to Battle Network again, each of these chips had a letter code, meaning that you had to actually strategize which chips you had in there so you could pick as many attacks when you get to battle as you could. In Mega Man Star Force, however, none of those letter codes exist, and now you only have yellow and white chips along with, like Mega and Giga class cards, but don't worry about those. They pretty much function the exact same way as yellow cards. So finally, you enter an enemy encounter, and you end up getting 6 random chips from your folder that keep getting cycled in and out as the battle goes on, but usually they won't last a super long time. You definitely won't see all of your chips in one encounter. When you're on the screen, you can either pick chips in a row or a column, and white cards can be selected no matter what. You can also select the same chip no matter where they are, but you won't be able to select anything else aside from those. Now that you've got your chips, you will be thrown into this little arena, whereas in Mega Man Battle Network, you had a 3x3 grid to walk around on. Now you have only one row, and you might be thinking, oh, that seems a little bit unfair that the enemies can just go wherever they want. But don't worry, so can you, because if you press down on the D-pad, Geo can leap forward to an enemy's position and attack with almost any non-dimming chip, which means you do have a lot of range, it just doesn't look like it. Also returning is the Mega Buster, which charges automatically, and if you hold down the B button, it will fire a constant stream of shots. This can be upgraded by finding new weapons throughout the game that do more damage, or have different elemental abilities, or it can just fire super fast to the point where it's like, yeah, I'm cheating at this point. Other than that, Geo also has a shield he can use, which isn't super useful against heavy moves, but when there are some lighter attacks coming your way, it will protect you in a pinch. Using these tools and all your chips will lead to some crazy encounters that can go by really quickly, which is one of the biggest strengths of this game in my opinion. Sure, I don't think I was the best Battle Network player around or anything, but I find combat in that game a lot more tedious than here, because obviously this one, you can lock on enemies and just... and it just feels good, man. It just satiates the bloodlust. When you're not in battle, you're either running around the real world or in the Wave World trying to complete side quests or just progress the plot. But how on earth do you even reach the Wave World, you're saying? Well, obviously, you just have to stand on one of these puddles of orange Fanta, and then Geo and Omegasys will transform into Mega Man and be shot up to the sky where the wave roads await. Up here, Geo can zoom around all over the place, and it's honestly a pretty useful method of travel, which I would very much enjoy to have in my day-to-day life. I don't even care if I need to risk my life fighting viruses. I mean, this guy is gonna threaten me? Yeah, okay. But up here is where all the magic happens, because this is the place that allows Mega Man to traverse the area and put a stop to all the bad guys who are threatening the peace of this world. Speaking of threats, it's not too long before other FMians appear and start fusing with humans, causing Geo to have to step in and save the day over and over again, even if he's still super scared about it. You got people like Taurus Fire, Cygnus Wing, Harp Note, Queen Ophiucha, Libra Balance, Gemini Spark, and also Cancer Bubble is there, but he's just kind of sitting back and watching the world burn, which I can kind of respect. Much like what happened with Geo and Omegasys, all of these characters are displaying tons of negative emotions, and that is what draws the FMians to them. I really like this approach to villains in this game, because these are just average people who are letting their problems rule their lives, and it shows that if you keep letting that happen, you'll get to a really dark place. And an alien might steal your body, but that could be unrelated, I don't know. And the other thing I really like about this is that Geo gets to watch these characters overcome these problems and seek to get better, which, if you think about it, Geo could have ended up in these guys' places really easily if he had met someone other than Omegasys. But thankfully, being in the right place at the right time has led him to gain the power to help these other people get to where they need to be. And at the same time, it lets him look at himself and reflect on what he's going through. This really kicks off when Geo meets one of the most important characters in the game by far, Sonia Strum. Sonia is a pop star who started singing way back when her mother was sick because it made her happy. This unintentionally caused her to become super famous because, lo and behold, she was actually a really good singer, and from that point on, she just was in the limelight even though that wasn't really her goal with all this. After a while of this, unfortunately, Sonia's mother does not get better like you might have hoped, and her reason for singing is no longer with her. But she's not able to stop singing because she's involved with contracts and agents and all this real-world Hollywood stuff. As this goes on, she just ends up getting more and more miserable because obviously it reminds her of her mother, and also the fact that these agents and stuff are just using her for all the money and fame and fortune, and this is exactly what draws the FMian Lyra to her side. Once the two EM wave change into Harp Note, Sonia goes and knocks out her manager, which honestly he did have it coming, but you can't just go around hitting people even if they're total scumbags. So Geo goes after her and tries to reason with her because at the end of the day, their situations are pretty similar. They've both lost someone they really cared about and it's affecting them in an extreme way. And in one of the most touching moments in this entire franchise, maybe the entire Mega Man universe, Geo finally breaks out of his old ways, and he asks Sonia to form a brother band with him. Geo finally realizes here that having friends and relationships like this isn't something to fear, because having these bonds is what can hold you together in times of devastation. During his time with Mega, he's learned there are people all around the world that are just like him, but when you have bonds like the one he shares with Sonia, you're able to get through these things. The aftermath of this, Lyra actually ends up caring a lot about Sonia, just like Omegasys does with Geo, and that means there are now two superpowered people on the planet that are on the side of good, and that's actually pretty rad. They're not only friends, they're super friends. From this point on, Geo actually opens up a bit, he ends up going back to school, and he even starts forming a little friendship with Luna, Bud, and Zack, despite their pretty rough exteriors in this first game. But hey, what's a story about growth without some challenges, right? In comes a new student to Geo's class. This is Pat, an orphan who was abandoned at a junkyard when he was a child. That's probably not the best place to leave a baby, but you know what? I'm not a parent, so I wouldn't know. Geo immediately latches on to Pat, seeing as they have somewhat similar circumstances surrounding them, and he wants to help because he knows that having friends can help, especially in a new place like this. So very uncharacteristically quickly for Geo, the two form a brother band, and this is where things get a little dark. Unbeknownst to Geo, Pat is actually harboring a malicious alternate personality named Ray, and an FMian named Gemini, and the two are actually working together to use Pat's nice personality to get in close to Geo so they can steal back the Andromeda Key, which is something that Omegasys had stolen from Planet FM, and that's actually the reason everybody's coming after them in the first place. Obviously, this is devastating to Geo because this is exactly what he was afraid of. He gets to know someone, but then it turns out they were just using him and they push him away, and heck, they even try to kill the guy, because, like, that's what the FMians are doing. In a very heartbreaking moment, probably one of the most heartbreaking moments in this trilogy, aside from some stuff in the third game, Geo ends up retreating back to his old ways. He cuts his brother bands with Sonya and Luna, and even Omegasys leaves him, because he's just being a all-around bummer, and Omegasys isn't really here for it. I like to think that this is Mega trying to spur Geo back into, you know, his new mindset, but I think it all weighs really hard on the kid, and honestly, it's a very relatable thing. I'm sure you've heard of the whole straw that broke the camel's back type thing. Like, you know, let's say a lot of unfortunate things are happening and you're like, oh, this is really horrible, but I'm still going. I can keep it up because I need to. But, you know, it just keeps getting to be more and more and more year after year after year. And eventually it just gets to be too much. That one last thing, that little piece of straw, can reaffirm all of those negative beliefs. You know, you can start thinking totally negatively, I was wrong to do this, I shouldn't have opened up like this, I know things are always going to be horrible, and that's just where Geo's at. And it's really, really horrible to see after a character you care about so much, or at least I do, ends up falling back into that funk. And you want to see him succeed, but it's like, it's really hard to get out of that. But just when you think he's down and out, there is a huge crisis, and Geo knows that he has people that he wants to protect, and that's different from before. Before he would have retreated and just said it was someone else's problem. But at this point, he knows he needs to protect his friends, he knows he was wrong for pushing them away again, and he goes back out, he finds Omegasys, he finds Sonya, Luna, Bud, Zack, he makes all of it right. And then, as a duo, Omegasys and Geo go up to the space station that his dad was actually on a while back, and I am skimming over some story stuff because I don't want to spoil everything for you, because I do want you to play the game. And up there, they actually meet the FM King, who has been destroying planets for actually some of the same reasons that Geo's been really upset and, you know, depressed about for his whole life. Apparently this guy's been alone, and he keeps thinking that everyone is trying to use him and that bonds are not real. And after a fight, Geo and Omegasys teach him about what it is to actually have these bonds, and he just kind of like becomes friends with them a little bit and says he'll try better and he'll go fix the places he destroyed. But this kind of feels like a Steven Universe, like, Diamonds situation, where it's like, these guys are genocidal galactic dictators that have, like, killed billions, and we're just gonna be like, you know, second chance. And, like, I do believe in second chances, but, like, a little bit harder with that. I mean, he says he's gonna go fix things, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know, Cyrus. You're on thin ice. But anyway, I apologize if that got a little rambly or a little bit heavy, but this is a very important game to me, and I love it so, so much. So I really just ended up going off script and just kind of talking my heart out a little bit. But I hope you enjoyed it, and hey, if this made you want to play this game, and you do actually play it, let me know down in the comments what you thought of it. Like, update me on everything. I don't care. Come back. Keep telling me things. I love to hear people playing this game and enjoying it. Closing thoughts? Capcom, where's my Star Force Legacy collection? Please do that. Please do that, please. And I guess until that actually happens, I will continue to wish on shooting stars, and maybe Geo and Omegasys will make my wish come true someday. You get it? I said I was going to wish on shooting stars because it's actually called Shooting Star Rockman in the Japanese version. Welcome to the end of the video. I'm sure you can tell this one was actually a lot of fun and, you know, very important to me to make after making so many videos that I really didn't want to make because of the algorithm. But anyway, if you made it this far, please let me know down in the comments, because not a lot of people will make it to the end of this, especially because, you know, it's not Sonic related, but it's almost like you're in a secret club, so make sure to let me know down there. And I'd also like to say, if you like this video and you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell, follow my Twitter, and join the Discord to keep up with more of anything, and other things that are anything, because I do a lot of things, for real now. I'd also like to thank my current supporters, who are Brady Hilkemeyer, Mailman019, Kaido the Samurai, Danny Lee Dauber, Mike TGC, Chaotic Mercenary, Dax, T-Bone APH, The 7 Superstars, Crystal, Ty Little Tech Guy, PM13, Chaos, Jeremy, Dork in a Hat, Mega Traffic Cone. And on Patreon, we have Noah, Wisbios, T-Bone APH, and John the Real Wawaluigi. Also, thank you to everyone in the $1 tiers. Even $1 helps and gets you access to a ton of members-exclusive videos and our exclusive Discord chat where we talk about, you know, upcoming projects and other things. If you want to check that out, you can check out the card up there for Patreon and the join button below for YouTube memberships, where you also get, like, emotes and a badge next to your name in the comments, which is nice. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.